doing a cleanse, a deworming cleanse, and debloating cleanse. I've been doing a beet, a lime, and watermelon and water for 7 days. I did it for five, skipped a day, did six, and then skipped 2 days and did seven. A lot has been going on. I'm on day seven. I just had to say that. But God has been compelling me to share my story a little bit. I was actually sharing my story to my daughters yesterday, and it made one of them cry because it's a strong story. um, I'm gonna try to make it as short as I can. I don't want to make a super long video. I'm gonna do it while I'm drinking my drink. But so December 13th last year, I hemorrhaged really bad at work and I had to go to the hospital. It was really bad. I was able to drive myself home. That way, I was safe, I guess you could say. I didn't want to go straight to the hospital because my mom was with my daughter and I just needed to let her know what was going on. Well, I made it home and down the street there was a hospital. So I drove myself to the hospital, thankfully. I was bleeding the whole time. Um, So went to the hospital. They tried to stop the bleeding and they couldn't. They kept saying, "We're gonna give you this medicine and the bleeding's gonna stop." Okay, okay. It never stopped. So they had to give me all the scans. They ended up admitting me because the bleeding was so bad. I had to get a blood transfusion. So the first night that I showed up, my blood levels were so low that my temperature dropped to 96 degrees, and they kept checking my temperature over and over and over because they were like, this is not right, let me get another one, this is not right. Well, my temperature was dropping, I was tanking because I was bleeding. They couldn't stop it, they didn't know where it was coming from. Well, I find out that I have a tumor growing on my uterus. The tumor was causing the bleeding, and after 3 days of medication to stop the bleeding, none of it was working. I kept telling the doctor, you need an alternative. Think of an alternative. What if this bleeding doesn't stop? They were so like set that this bleeding was going to stop. And something inside of me was like, something's not right here. What y'all are doing is not right. It's not going to work. And it didn't. So I had to go through an emergency hysterectomy. Now, I have always had really heavy cycles and stuff. And I actually, when I was pregnant with my last child, which I was told I couldn't have any more children because I had severe endometriosis. That's what they diagnosed me with. So I couldn't have any children. Luna, I almost lost my daughter several times, but she lived. When I was 8 months pregnant, I went swimming. And when you swim, it raises your organs. And I went into early labor with Luna, 8 months pregnant. Well, the swimming revealed a tumor. I also had a tumor at this time on my ovary. It was killing my ovary. My ovary was dead. I was going into early labor. I was 24 hours with no pain medication, with contractions, not knowing what was going on. I was barely coherent because the pain was so bad. This was around COVID. So no one could be with me. I'm 8 months pregnant by myself at the hospital in severe pain. And the doctors didn't know where it was coming from. They just knew that I was going into early labor and they did not want my baby out at that time because it was still too early. And during the in and outs that I was going through in the hospital, nurses kept coming in with paperwork. And I remember them explaining to me, this is the paperwork that you're going to sign just in case this surgery does not go well. I need you to put down the name of a person who is going to come collect your body and your baby's body. I signed papers, my death papers, basically, mine and my baby's. They made me sign it just in case, because from my understanding, this tumor was full of poison. And if it had popped, it would have immediately spread through my whole body and my baby, and it would have killed us. So by the grace of God, they flew in surgeons from Pennsylvania, from Austin, San Antonio, to try to take this tumor out of me without nicking the sac of my child. So they were telling me, you may have your baby today, but she's going to be in the ICU for a while. All the things, y'all. It was crazy. But we lived. By the grace of God, we lived. The surgeon that I had was amazing. He removed the tumor without nicking the sac of my baby, and they actually cut me open like if I was going to have a C-section to get the tumor out while I was still 8 months pregnant. So waking up from that surgery with a huge belly on top of a incision scar that they just closed was a really excruciating pain. I don't wish that on my worst enemy. It was bad. So they told me everything went well. We got the tumor out. They showed me the tumor. It was the size of a baseball. And my ovary was shriveled and black. The doctor said he had never seen anything like that in his life. That I'm a miracle and my baby is a miracle. So here I am now, only with one ovary and one tube. At this point, they had to take out my ovary and my tube on the whole left side of my reproductive system. Okay, so 3 weeks later, they cut me open in the same scar to have my baby. That was rough, y'all. But I lived, I survived, I'm here, right? I'm here. Now my baby's thriving. She's 4 and she's thriving. She's amazing. Oh my gosh, she's a blessing to all of us. So they said I could still have children if I wanted them. You know, if I wanted them, I could still have children. I mean, at this point, they told me I couldn't have my last child, and she was perfectly healthy. So I was kind of skeptical of what they would say because I believe in God. Y'all know this. Y'all see my channel. And I believe he has the last say so. So it wasn't our time to go. We're here for a reason. That's what I always say. Fast forward to December. Now, I had to be admitted into the hospital for this hemorrhaging. I needed an emergency hysterectomy. So that's what they did. My surgery was delayed. There was a lot going on, and I will consistently make other videos to explain that, but I'm just doing an overall gist right now because God was compelling me to say it. So I had the surgery. Everything went well. They removed everything. So I cannot make children anymore. I have nothing inside of me to make children. And I had to make my peace with that as well. Even though I didn't want any more, that's a big part of a woman that we have to, that we will grieve if it's gone. It happens, you know. But it went well. And the next day, I started bleeding from my rectum. I kept bleeding. And they didn't know what was going on. The bleeding, they thought the bleeding was going to stop. It didn't. My rectum started bleeding. On Christmas Eve of 2024, I was admitted into the ICU. I needed a 3rd blood transfusion. They had gotten the tumor. They had gotten everything out. But now my rectum was bleeding and they didn't know why. So they were preparing me after this major surgery. They were preparing me for a colonoscopy. That was terrifying because I already could not eat much, and I didn't eat food at all for 6 days. And of course, I was in the bed with all the tubes. When my temperature dropped, they put me in all the tubes. Christmas Eve, I needed a 3rd blood transfusion. They could not find blood for me. They said because of all the blood transfusions that I've had in my life, it changes your blood type and your blood antibodies, and they could not find one to match mine. This was Christmas Eve of 2024, and my vitals are tanking. I remember laying there in the bed, and my brother came to see me, my mom came to see me that night, and I could barely move my arms, let alone move my eyes. I was so depleted of life. I was just dying. I was shriveling up and dying. And my mom was kind of freaking out, like, y'all need to find this blood. My daughter needs this, you know. And I'm in the ICU and my rectum's bleeding. They're preparing me for a colonoscopy. I am shriveling up at this point. I need blood. Somebody's great idea. All they told me was a nurse had an idea, or a doctor had an idea, to mix bloods together to make mine. Okay. Christmas Day, they give me the blood. I get my blood in and I'm starting to come back. But I'm also still prepping for this colonoscopy because I'm still bleeding. Now, I don't know who has ever gone through a colonoscopy, but you know that they cleanse you out, right? At this point, I had not had solid food in 6 days. And they were cleansing me out of everything so I can do this surgery, so they can take a look. And while I was cleansing out my life, I was so weak. I needed nurses to get off the bed. I needed nurses to go to the bathroom. It was crazy because I'm so spiritual. And of course, the whole time I'm calling on God, the whole time I had my Bible, I'm reading and I'm like, this can't be it, God. This can't be it. Like, I have gone through so much already. This cannot be my ending. I refuse. So the day before surgery, sitting on the toilet, I'm cleansing. And the devil, evil himself, appeared to me in the ground. And I seen him and I'm sitting there and I'm crying. I'm so weak because I can't even hold myself up on the toilet. I'm crying and I'm just in so much pain. My stomach is hurting. Stuff is trying to come out of my body that I felt like there was nothing left. And it was really hard. So he appeared to me and he tells me, you know how they tell you, you got your devil on the shoulder and you got God on the other shoulder, right? Well, in this moment, he appeared to me, but God didn't. I didn't have an angel come. I didn't have God come. It was only him. And he whispered in my ear. He said, if you just give up now, it will be so easy. It will be so easy to just give up right now. You will not suffer anymore. You will not be in any more pain. It will be so easy. Just give up right now. And I was sitting there like, I felt like I was crazy because, you know, when you follow God, you have faith. You can't see faith. Just like the wind, you know, it blows. You know it's there. Your hair's moving, but you can't see it, right? So I'm sitting there wrestling with the devil. And I'm waiting for God to show up. I'm like, I'm going to have an angel and God appear to me any minute right now to tell me to save me. But no one, he didn't. Well, in that moment, I didn't think he was there, but he's always there. You guys, he's always there. So I had to make a choice in that moment. I had to choose life or death. And now I understand when they say that death is easy, but life is such a privilege. And I just thought about my babies, you know, my 3 daughters. I have 3 daughters. And I just thought about them. And even though it would have been so easy to give up, it would have been so easy to just stop feeling all of this pain that I was feeling and stop worrying my mom and my family. And it would have been easy. But I said no. I started screaming at him on the floor. I was looking at the floor screaming, no, you're not going to take me. This is not the end of my story. And when I made that choice, God showed up. He showed up. And he embraced me with the most beautiful love. This feeling that I cannot describe. It was just a feeling of like, I love you so much. Thank you for choosing me. And I did. I chose life. I chose God. And after that, my symptoms and the bleeding stopped. They cleared polyps in my colon and the bleeding stopped. And my vitals and everything started going up, y'all. It was just crazy. Like, I was at a pivotal moment in my life where I had to choose life or death. And I saw death and I saw life. And it was a choice. It is a choice. Everything that we do is a choice. And I recovered, had a full recovery. Thank you, God. I'm here. And sometimes I think back on that story and I don't realize like how powerful it is. And yesterday telling my daughters the real story, I don't know, God put it on my heart to just tell them. I didn't want to scare them, but I was just being honest because I'm very honest with my daughters. And because I respect them so much and they respect me in return. So God was telling me, you told them, now share it to the world because other people need to hear this. And here I am sharing it. There's so much more details that go into that. But for so long, I've lived this life wondering if there was more. I always would think since 8 years old, there has to be more. There has to be more. And there's more. And I know we endure so much heartache and pain on this earth, but we choose it, y'all. We choose to come here again. Why do you think you feel deja vu? Because you chose to come back here and rewrite your story. There were things in your other lives that shaped your soul in a negative way. And you make the conscious choice to come back here on this earth with your soul to make it better. Make your soul better. Make your human better. And we're here for a reason because we choose to be. And all of this that happened to me, at the end, I had a choice. And I chose God. I chose life. And now here I am. Posting on social media, something I said I wouldn't do. If you know me and you're watching this, you know that I was so against this. Oh, beats. It'll do that to you. I was so against posting. I was shy, this and that. I don't like to be the center of attention. I don't like to be the center of attention. I am not. I will hide in the back of the room. If you know me, you know that. So this is all God. I'm not sharing any of this for sympathy. I'm sharing it to let you know that you're not alone. And whatever you're facing and whatever you're going through, God's there. You just got to reach out to him. And he's waiting to see if you're going to choose him. He's waiting to see the choice that you're going to make that day. Because so much can change in one day, y'all. And I learned that. I went from thriving to almost dying on Christmas Eve. And here we are. About to be a Christmas. I didn't get to spend Christmas with my kids last year. I was fighting for my life. Here we are, 2025. And I'm thriving. And I'm doing the best that I can to take care of this vessel that has carried me. We may not appreciate our vessels, y'all, how they look. But it's what matters on the inside. And that sounds so cliche, but it's the truth. When we die, this physical form is not coming with us. We just have to keep it healthy to survive and thrive here. So we can share love and light. Because that's what we're here to do. I know that's what I'm here to do. And I'm ready to embrace it. And I really hope this video encourages you to embrace it. I've gone through a lot, yet here I am. Because I chose God. Because I chose life. And I just had to share that. And I'm sorry it was 20 minutes long. But I just want to say that I love you. And you got this. This life thing, it's beautiful. God loves you too. Boy, does he love you. That's why you're still here. That's why you woke up today. Because he loves you that much. Your purpose is not done yet. Your purpose is not fulfilled. That's why you're here still. Look for it. Ask questions to fulfill your purpose. Because it's a big one. We all have our role here. I truly believe that. And I love you guys, and God bless you. And I hope you have a great, great God-filled day.